Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nicholas Coriano, professional business plan writer. Went to business school, went to law school, graduated both, worked on Wall Street, written over 2,000 business plans. And in this video, I'm going to go over some of the things you should know when you're trying to project your financial projections for your restaurant. Four things I'm going to go over today: traffic count, average ticket price, table and seat count, and hours of operation. If you can get these four things down, you're going to successfully be able to project at least your revenues, okay? So let me go over these four tips really quick. Number one, traffic count. You want to know how many people could potentially end up at your restaurant. And you can do this. One of the ways to do this is by measuring your traffic count. So for example, if you ever driven down the road, there's this little, looks like a rope that goes over the road. That gives you a traffic count on how many cars are driving by any given road. Usually your local government or state government or county government or city government has these traffic counts on their website. And they need to know these traffic counts because they need to know when to redo their road. So another way to do it is just to sit in front of the place where you're going to start the business and count how many cars are going by at any given time. I'd like to do this. If I were you guys, I would be doing this every day of the week, every hour of the day, because your signage is going to be up regardless of whether you're open or not. So even though you might not be open at 9 o'clock in the morning, the cars that go by there may see your sign, right? And they may end up at your restaurant later. So get a traffic count on how many people are going by. And then I'm going to tie all this in at the end to explain how you can work these things. So traffic count for cars. Pedestrian, same thing. If you're in a plaza or in a mall, like if you're opening up a place in a mall, usually the mall has a traffic count of how many people visit the mall. But if you're in a plaza and they don't have it, sit there and see how many cars are coming in, how many people are coming in and out of the stores. Measure that for 7 days, 14 days, so you know how many people are coming in and out. And then another way to measure your traffic count is by your competition. So you can go to a local restaurant that's going to be near your restaurant, or a local restaurant that's similar to your restaurant, and see how many people are there on a Friday night, Saturday night, Monday afternoon, Monday night, Tuesday afternoon, Saturday afternoon, right? And that's your first one. So your traffic count is one of the data points you're going to have to measure your financial projections. The next thing is your average ticket price. So an average ticket price is exactly what it sounds like. It's the average amount of money your consumer will spend at your restaurant. So let's say, your average meal is $10, your average drink is $2, and that's what you think most people are going to be ordering, right? So $12. Now your average ticket price is $12. The reason you do this is because you don't want to have to go too far in the weeds on your financial projection. You can. I've done it for clients before. You can measure, hey, we're going to sell 7 burgers a day and, 12 milkshakes a day and, 18 hot dogs and, 14 French fries. But the best way to do it is just to come up with an average price of what the consumer is going to spend. And that way, when you're actually in operations, when you're in business, it's easier to meet the mark, right? It's easier to know, hey, we need, 150 customers in at, $12, and 12 times 150 equals whatever that equals. And now you can meet your financial projections. So average ticket price. After average ticket price is average length of stay. So this is also known as how many people can we seat at the table? How many times can the table turn over? Which brings me to my next bullet point, table count and seat count. So you want to know how many tables are going to be at your restaurant and how many seats are going to be at your restaurant. If you know how many tables and seats are going to be at your restaurant, then you know how many potential customers you can service at any given time. Then you want to know how long are they on average going to stay there. So let's say you're open from 6 to 10 o'clock, 7, 8, 9, 10, 4 hours, right, for dinner. And you can do this. It can be from 11 in the afternoon to 10 at night or 11 at night. But let's just take for simple examples, you're open for 4 hours, okay? And in that 4 hours, you think you can seat every table twice. And there's 20 tables. That means you're going to have 40 seatings, okay? 40 table seatings, and every table sits 4 people. So 40 times 4, 80, 160. So that means you're going to have 160 people on an average night or on a given night, right? This can change. This could be different on Friday than it is on Saturday. It's probably going to be different on Tuesday night than it is on Saturday night. But let's just take that number, 160 patrons that you're going to service on Saturday times our average ticket price of $12, right? Now you're starting to see how we come up with these projections. And the last piece of information you want is your hours of operation. This will tell you how many times you can seat people. So let me recap really quick. You want a traffic count. You want to get a good estimation of how many people could you potentially service. Not necessarily how many people are you going to service, but how many could you service? Then you want an average ticket price. What is the average amount of money that my consumer is going to spend in my restaurant? And then how long are they going to stay when they eat a meal? And then the fourth bullet point, the table count and the seat count. How many people can I actually sit? And then how many hours am I open for? If you have these 5 data points, you will be able to financially project your revenues. Your expenses are a different situation. I'll go over that in a video after. But as far as your revenues, these are the 5 things you want to know as a startup restaurateur to understand what could I potentially make. Now, keep in mind a few things. Friday, Saturday nights are probably going to be busier than your Tuesday, Wednesday night, right? Take into account seasonality. Q4, your Thanksgiving, your Christmas holidays are generally busier times of the year than other times of the year. So your weekly seasonality, meaning your weekends are probably going to be busier than your weekdays, and then your yearly seasonality, your holidays, your Mother's Day, your Valentine's Day, your New Year's dinners. These are times when usually traffic picks up. But if you know these things, you should be able to come up with an average revenue projection. So multiply your average ticket price by how many people sat down in your restaurant times how many times they sat down in your restaurant according to your hours of operation, and make sure that it falls within the traffic count. So if you're projecting, 1,000 people to sit down in your restaurant, you only got 100 seats. Well, that's not going to work unless you're open for 10 hours and you think you can max out all those 10 hours. And the same goes for if you have a traffic count or a pedestrian count of, 1,000 people crossing that road, and your projections show that, you're going to have 2,000 people sitting at your restaurant every day. Those numbers probably aren't going to add up. So this is just a quick hack for people that they're starting a restaurant for the first time and want to know how to project their startup revenues. These are the 5 things that you should be thinking about, right? Your traffic count, your average ticket price for your meal, which, by the way, could be different at dinner, breakfast, and lunch. The average length of stay for a consumer at the restaurant, how many tables and seats you have, and then your hours of operation. If you get all those pieces of information down, it should be easy to project your financial revenue projections. If you need help, I've written hundreds of business plans for restaurants. Give me a shout. My cell phone, 203-685-0346. If you thought this video was good, like it. If you thought it was bad, give it the thumbs down. If you have a comment or a question, put it in the comment section below. Feel free to share it with some friends that you think this will be helpful, and subscribe to the channel. I'm always putting up videos on how to write business plans, SWOT analysis, marketing plans, and general business tips. I hope this was great. We'll catch you on the next video.